Yeah, always a beautiful moment. Whenever we get a chance to talk about relationship, to talk about marriages, the thing that brings the utmost happiness and the thing that brings the utmost pain in people's lives. And so many of us have failed to know how to handle. Some of us, we've gotten to a place where we have at least gotten a grip of what is happening in our lives. For some of the married people are moving towards the journey of becoming one, but it's not easy, It just feels like you are conflicting and you are moving two different journeys, and yet you want to end up united and one. So there's a lot that is happening, but we are so glad that in such a season as this, we are here, not as the experts that know everything, but as vessels that are learning and willing to take you on this journey together with us.
Absolutely.
I believe it's the most important thing.
True. Recently, Hilda put up a picture of us at an introduction ceremony, and I took time to go through the comments. And one person asked, "Are you guys married?"
I know.
Yeah. So I would want to clarify on that. Hilda here is my wife. We're married. We have 2 sons and 1 girl. So it's only an assumption that people should know. I mean, it's
by
only,
the way,
it's
yes,
only better
that's
to
true.
do proper. So we are married with 2 boys and 1 girl.
Yeah. And a lot. We do actually literally all businesses together. So we do so many things. We wear so many hats. We lead so many people. But again, we have been constantly at a journey to study, to learn, to unlearn, and to become better. And I think that is the reason we took on the mantle and said, you know what, we cannot just grow alone. We've been in worst of the places, believe us. When we talk about relationships, we've been in worst of the places. When we talk about marriage, we are still on the learning curve. But we believe that there is a mandate on this generation to be able to nurture the ones that are coming up, to nurture the ones that need help. And that is why we are here to share, to be very transparent about our own struggles that we've had in the past, but as well to bring you back to our source, which we believe that God has been the source of our happiness. We have put God at the center of our relationship, of our marriage, of our businesses and everything, and we have never been disappointed.
I was having a discussion recently with an elderly man, a friend that I've known for quite some time, maybe about 20 plus years. And we were discussing their generation, our generation, and this coming generation. And one of the things that stood out is the fact that there are certain things that have happened to their generation that will be a mystery to this generation. This generation will only wonder how impossible, you are lying. That could never happen. Were you even, are you human even to have gone through that? And we said for you to become a foundation, it means you have the capacity to sustain everything that is built on that foundation. And a foundation is built over time. The other thing is that no one sees a foundation. So as you grow, as you age, you tend to become a foundation in so many ways. That's why people think that you can carry it all.
Yeah, you know it all.
So they come to you and they throw it at you, and with a smile you receive it. Not because you have all the resources that you need to address every issue as it comes, but the situations you've gone through have brought you to that place where you have the right response, to every question, and you have the right response to every situation, and as it is put to you. So as we grow and as we share everything that we are sharing, it's from the abundance of the situations, it's from the abundance of experiences, what we have encountered walking this journey,
the countless rock bottoms.
Exactly. We've been hurt, we've been hit, we've made stupid mistakes, and we've paid the price. And some of the mistakes that we made, their prices are far reaching.
Yes.
That some of them have a very long arm, that they still follow you. So these are lessons that are priceless.
Yes.
If it is to pay for a class, you would have to pay with blood, with life. Some people have
priceless.
died in those experiences. But
Yes.
to be alive means God has given you an opportunity to be here and help the generation
Another
that is
generation,
coming.
yeah.
So we are not speaking from we know it all, but we are speaking from what we have encountered,
The abundance
what
of
we
our
have,
hearts.
what we have been able to handle, what we've, So that's what we share with you.
Yeah.
And I hope you pick something and use it, apply it, because that's the only way you will benefit from this. Otherwise, it's another talk show. It's
true.
another TV show. It's another YouTube video. It's another and
That's
another and
very
another.
true. Yeah.
But this is real life. Real life.
That's very true. One of the things that has really helped us on this journey, and I think that's what we actually decided to talk about today, is us having God at the center of our personal lives and then our relationship, which has changed, healed, and made so much sense. Because when we see there's so many things that are happening in the world right now when it comes to relationships and marriages, people are utterly giving up. Some people are hurt to the extent of wanting to commit suicide. Some people are stuck, like they are blank. They can no longer think. Something has happened, and it's when someone goes through a certain thing or a certain shock in a relationship, and they feel like, I don't think anyone has ever gone through this. I think I'm the first person that has gone through this. So they are tongue-tied. They don't know how to handle it. Some people don't even know that there is help, that you can find a counselor, that you can get a coach, or you can get a therapist to actually be able to help you. So now, instead of us talking about the isolated things like we've been talking about, how the men are hurt, how the women are hurt, how people are tired. We've had all these isolated things. Now we want to be able to sum them together and say that there is a God that owns people's hearts, and God can make those hearts face anywhere that He wants them to face, either away from you or towards you. So that means if we are able to know that God holds the ultimate power, He's the beginner, He's the starter of the institution called relationships and marriages, and He is one that is in and wants to see purpose in relationships and marriages, that there is an end to this whole thing, that you are ending into a marriage, you're ending into a beautiful family, you're ending into nurturing the next generation. He has a purpose for a marriage. But again, God having a purpose for a marriage does not mean that the devil does not have a purpose for a marriage or does not have plans for a marriage, because as God intends things to turn out for our good, the devil came to kill, to destroy, and to steal. So what does he steal? I think before he even steals anything to do with your wealth, with your success, for as long as he can jeopardize one thing called relationships and marriages, it is the emotional base on which everything is built. For as long as you can lack peace, even if you get all the money in the world,
something will be lacking.
Something will be lacking. You will not be fine.
Absolutely.
So now, if we know that the devil came to steal, to destroy, and to kill, but Jesus came that we will have life, and life in its abundance. That means then we have a choice to make. Just like still the Bible says, we are going to quote a lot of scripture in this session,
yes.
Because I mean we know nothing else apart from that has been our whole life. And if it says that the power of death and life is in your tongue, and then he goes ahead, God knows that, by the way, we can be dumb, we can be senseless, and we can choose the wrong things. He goes ahead to say that choose life, that you and your descendants, not you alone.
But
that means when you choose life, you and your descendants, you and the following generation benefit from that
directly.
And then he says that when I bless you, the blessing goes to the fourth generation, just like the curse goes to the fourth generation.
Exactly. Yes,
so do we see
continuity.
That there are repercussions
to every
in what we choose?
But it directs you all to the source.
Exactly.
Before Hilda was Hilda, this is what I usually say. Before Hilda was Hilda, before Tim was Tim, before you existed somewhere. Where were you? You were somewhere in the spiritual
realm.
So that means God knew you. You existed with him somewhere. Now when the time came for you to be ushered into this world, You were ushered in a family. And God had a reason as to why there was a relationship between your father and mother, and used that relationship to usher you into this world. Now, when you get into this world, remember one thing. You have a source, and your source is God.
Yes.
Now, your source being God means this. God knew you before you came into this world.
He had plans for
Number two,
Wow.
God knew your father and mother before you were even... Think about it. Who decides which family to be born
Before
in?
you were conceived.
Think about it. Who decides which country to belong to? That you're going to be born in an American or a Ugandan or a Rwandan? No one decides, but he does. So God knows you more than you know yourself. He knows your beginning, he knows your end, and he knows how much you can be able to accomplish here. So God is your source, and your source can never be taken for granted. Now, God makes this man and woman be the parents or his co-creators in bringing you into this world, and you come into this world. One thing, remember, you have a source. You have somewhere you came from.
Yes.
You came from God. So don't forget your source. When you cut yourself off the source, you cut off your destiny.
You cut off your supply.
When you cut off your source, you cut off your supply. When you cut off your source, you are an accident.
Yes.
When you cut off your source, you are an orphan.
No direction.
When you cut off your source, you are nothing but something that can be beaten, trodden, just like the scripture that Hilda was. Is that John 10:10?
Yes.
Which says the thief does not come but to kill, steal, and destroy.
Yes.
You've already rendered yourself and given yourself, ushered yourself in the hands of the enemy.
Yes.
To do whatsoever that he wants to do with you. Now, this is very interesting. You usher, God uses Tim and Hilda to usher Ariella into this world. Guess what happens? God expects us to do our job in Ariella, but what does God expect? To depend on him to raise Ariella.
Exactly. We are stewards. He has given us something
So
to
that means
steward.
whichever that you will do, in as far as your family is concerned, the source is important. Because the child who is a gift to you has come from God. And you yourself came from him. So you have to depend on him for you to be able to succeed here. Succeed in parenting, succeed in having a good marriage, succeed in your business, succeed in almost everything that you touch and do.
The source.
Now, the source any day will be more important than anything you will ever achieve in this world. Because the source has the power over everything that you have here. Why? Because the source knows where you are and where you're heading.
That's true.
The source knows your enemy. He knows who's planning to kill you tomorrow. He knows who wants your marriage to be fallen.
Yes.
He knows who wants to kill your children. He knows who wants to finish your business. He knows who wants to finish you. When you depend on him, this is what he does. He reveals to you your enemy is. He reveals to you the next 10 years of your life. He reveals to you everything that you need for you to be able to succeed in this world. Don't cut off the source. When you cut off the source, you cut off 70% of what you are, if not 99.
Actually, 99.99. Wow, that was beautifully put. And you know, one thing I thought about while you were speaking, that if the devil cannot jeopardize our being born and where we are born, he will jeopardize us, or he will block us, or he will hinder us from actually plugging into that source.
Yes.
He'll be like, I can't jeopardize you coming to earth.
Yes.
As in, it's above science, you know?
Yes.
Even the scientists failed to understand how a human being, the best they can do is take the raw materials that God made and put in a test tube, but they cannot make the raw materials.
Yeah.
So we are not going to jeopardize how you came to earth, whether you were a test tube child, whether you were a scientific project, whatever it is, you are on earth, but you have the source. So if he cannot jeopardize you being born, he's going to jeopardize you knowing your source and depending on your source.
Yes.
And guess what? When you do not depend on that source, that is why so many people have a hole inside of them and a longing,
A vacuum
to be able to plug into the source, and so they end up plugging into the wrong sources.
Yes.
That is why
Yes.
witch doctors are making a lot of money when it comes to relationships, when it comes to marriages. That is why they will say, put him in a bottle.
The best way to put it is there is a longing in you, a longing, a deep longing
To belong.
to belong to
Wow.
a source,
Yeah.
to belong to a spiritual
To be
entity,
connected.
to be connected to something stronger than you.
Yeah.
Now that deep longing or that virtue must be filled with something. So with others, it with Satanism,
Yes.
on satanic acts, and as it's God. Now, when you have an opportunity and you plunge into God, then you plunge into the right source and the real source. But others, in a way,
To
in
feel
a
it.
longing, in that, the desire, the thirst has caused them to go to the wrong sources.
Yes.
And whatever that has come from those wrong sources, the end result, we know it: kill, steal,
Backfiring.
and destroy.
Yes.
That's what the devil does. Now, when we go back to what we were talking about, actually, every human being born in this world has a very powerful destiny.
Yes. It's not
But-
a random thing.
But this
that
what
you're
happens.
born.
Best example I can give is our Lord Jesus. Okay? When the devil knew that a king is going to be born, he started hunting
The
for
firstborns, yeah.
the king. What he wanted was to destroy the
To kill.
to destroy
Yeah.
the baby at birth. Just like you said, if the devil had the ability to create, he would have such a strong army.
I know.
But then, that's only for God that he creates. So God had created Jesus, had put Jesus in Mary's womb, and the devil said, now that that is done, I'll wait for the baby to be born, and I'll look for the baby and kill the baby. But he fails at that. Did the devil give up?
No, he
He
didn't.
did not give up. So you realize that when the devil fails at one attempt,
He will block you at another. He will keep
he then
trying.
re-strategizes to
And who
find
is your
ways to
protector?
catch you at a certain other level. In other words, he would not want you to see that destiny. He would want to come between you and your destiny, because that's the only way he will frustrate you here. Once you're frustrated here, the chances that, you know what a frustrated mind and person does? When you are frustrated, you look for options. When you are frustrated, you look for something that looks like. You want something that can help you momentarily. You want something that can give you a bit of
Ease the pain.
that can ease the pain. It's the right
give
word.
you relief.
So in that moment, it is possible that you can go where you're not supposed to go. So what the devil does is, when he is cutting you off your destiny, okay, it causes frustrations around you. He will cause people to hate you. He will cause people to betray you. He will cause people to hate you. He will cause people to, the people that you thought you would run to are the people you'll be running away from. Why? Because he is at work. But this is what happens, and the most beautiful thing that happens. When you stay intact and plunged into your source will reveal to you everything that the devil is trying to do. And when God starts revealing to you these things that the devil is trying to do to cut your destiny or kill or destroy your destiny, then you have a better way to work. When you walk in the darkness, the worst thing is you can't see. And if you can't see, you will have to if it's a distance from here, between here and that road, if we were to do a demonstration, you walk the whole room looking for a door.
That's true.
Why? Because you are blind. You cannot see.
You are limited.
You understand? When you're plunged into God, what God does is he opens your eyes, that right in the darkness you will see where you're going.
Yeah, to accelerate.
Right in
to
the
move.
troubled waters, you will see where you're going. Right in a world full of trouble, pain, sickness, and everything, name it, he will still breathe hope and life into you, that you will still afford a smile where everyone is cursing.
Oh, that's
You will have
profound.
deep-seated positivity, hope, and faith. Yes, a man has delayed, but I'm plunged into the source, and the source knows my future. So God is just about to do something.
I'll call upon the name
God
of God.
is just about to do something, because you're still plunged
into the
into the source, and the source knows your destiny.
And that is very
So
powerful.
it's not about the pressures coming from your mother. It's not about the pressures that are coming from your auntie. Those are the self-entitled ones and uncles who are telling you, Okadi. You understand?
I know.
Okay. Some of them have nothing to show for their marriage of 40 years.
No, and
okay.
it's like some of them even have nothing to do.
Apart from pregnating the whole village. So sometimes what they are telling you is, we made mistakes, make mistakes too.
I know. Come to our level.
We have a failed life, fail also to vehicle. So thing is, don't take in every crap that they are throwing at you. Your destiny is more powerful and bigger. Stay plunged
into the source.
Stay
plugged in.
Stay plugged into the source, because the source knows your destiny. It's not about how many children that you get in this world. Yes, I'm telling you. Some have given to 2, but one of them is Samuel and is a prophet. These things happen.
Yeah.
Barren for years. Barren for years. But still plugged in.
Yes.
And still believing.
And God comes through.
And still going to the prophet. Was it Eli? And crying and praying every day. Until God
changed the situation.
Changed it. Put Samuel in that woman's womb. Mujja wayinza okuba yazaala bangi nono yazaalayo. Otegera kyengezaako okugamba. So the thing here is, what you call delay
is not denial.
In God's timing, you're perfectly okay. Because the things that God does do not make a lot of meaning and sense in our eyes. Actually, the day they start to make a lot of sense to you is the day you start taking God for granted.
His ways are different.
As far as the east is from the west, so is his ways far away from our ways. So the thing here is, we don't get used to him. Let him be God. And I want to give him all the glory.
Give him that position.
And let him be. So the thing here is, what you call delay, in the eyes of God, it is not. He's still doing something, perfecting it in you.
Wow.
That when it happens, you will look back and you will swallow all the last 15 years of your tears. And you wonder, where are the 15 years of my life? And you can't see them. Why? There is joy that can fill your heart in 6 months.
Yeah.
That will make you somersault like a baby. And you're like, I don't care. I
am happy.
Happy nkikubye. Kubanga babikoze amangu.
And they're not.
Naye nga samaze bakubira eri muganda. So let's dive into some of the situations. There are so many situations that as we said earlier when we were beginning, ours has been on the road, as in everything that we know has been one experience after the other. As in, it's a journey.
Yeah.
So there are so many people that have come to us and have shared their experiences. So many people have come to us at the verge of breaking up, giving up, divorcing, and they want help, and they have been helped. So I want to try to tap 1, 2, 3, 4 things that we know would help you understand why the source is powerful. Please shoot.
I know, and some of these situation, actually, that's exactly where I wanted us to go, because when someone is going through a situation, let me just say, there are people that have mentioned they've been in a relationship and they have gotten to a place where they no longer know whether this is actually a relationship, whether it's going on or it's not happening. I'll just give an example. Someone, actually, you're in a relationship, you have a child, you're married, you have a child, and all of a sudden the other person is actually not mindful at all of what is happening, not minded to call you, not minded to know about their children, not minded to know about whether you've eaten, but you got married and the person chose to move on abroad and got a family. Or started another, or got another woman and started staying with the other woman. The reason as to why we want to give some of these things is because at certain points God will change the situation. At certain points, God will restore, because for God to restore, that means there is something that existed and the devil tried to kill or to destroy, and there has been a power to restore or to be able to bring it back again. And in some cases, God is going to reconcile. hearts that had shifted and moved like islands, you know, sailing in different directions, and all of a sudden he makes your heart turn to come back, just like he says, he brings the hearts of the fathers back to their children. Okay, so that is the power of reconciliation. So now we're talking about the power of change, we're talking about the power of restoration, and we're talking about the power of reconciliation, and those things plug in different for as long as you're plugged in into your source. But the only thing that this is dependent on, that even when God knows the cries of your heart, he's waiting for you to mention, he's waiting for you to pray, he's waiting for you to call on him. The only thing is, when we're going through these frustrations, prayer sometimes becomes more distant, okay, and we entertain our own thoughts and frustrations, and you know, and frustrations, and just being depressed. And I know so many people are going through that. But the moment you come into God and ask God that, you know what, I need you to be able to show me what is the next step. What do I do? Is this even worth fighting for? Is this even, there's someone who asked me, is this even worth fighting for? He married me, left me with children, and he moved thinking that he was going to, you know, to greener pastures. And now all of a sudden he has gotten another woman. And she's asking, should I wait? Do I still have a marriage? Or I give up and do my own things? But you realize that every single one of those choices is painful.
Exactly. So you talked about change, you talked about restoration, you talked about reconciliation, and what was the other? Okay.
Those were the
so
the
like
things.
You realize for change to happen, there must be a will.
Yes, exactly.
And this will is only and only dependent on the one that carries it.
Yes.
It's one thing that God does not do.
He gave us the free will,
so
the power to decide.
He allows you to choose life or death. Okay? And what does God do? When you choose death, right in your pain, he will still expect you to call on to him.
Yes. For salvation.
He will never get tired. He expects you to either make the right choice or the wrong one. Now, what influences the right choice?
You know, that's powerful before you actually move away from them, because most people get paralyzed or decision-making paralysis because they fear making the wrong decision. Yeah. So they end up in the valley of indecision. And they die in that valley.
You can die in that valley.
Actually, it's better to make a wrong decision than not decide at all.
Exactly. Because without deciding, still you've decided.
Yeah.
So, what influences the right or the wrong decision is your intimacy or your relationship with your source. When you are plugged into your source and you're dependent on your source, the other thing that I said, he will show you 10 years from now and he will help you understand that whatever you're doing right now is going to cost you A, B, C, D, and Z. Some of these things that God will do, he will speak to you through dreams.
Yes.
And he'll show you the next 10 years of your life. You'll see yourself in a dream, putting on sackcloth and eating on a dustbin, or walking like a madman. What is God trying to tell you? That the decision you're about to take, that's your destiny. But he does not decide for you.
He's saying, be careful.
He does not decide for you. I'm talking about now change. Because in change, there's a will. Who influences your will depends on your source.
Yes.
Where are you getting your feeding? Who feeds directly into you?
That should mean we should listen to people, but go back to our source.
Yeah. Who speaks into you? Because the devil uses people and God uses people.
Yes.
So who is influencing you? Is it a bandwagon of friends who
Is
says
it
we should sleep at a bar every day?
I know.
Okay? Because it's one thing to sleep at a bar every day. But you realize you're 10 different human beings. Much as you went as a group, you have your destinies each.
Different.
You have your own Rubimbi each. And guess what happens? When you die, your friends will just only come and bury. But they will still go back to attend to their destinies.
Yeah.
So, who is influencing your decisions? Don't tell me that a bandwagon. Don't tell me I did this because of my friends. Don't tell me all that nonsense, because at the end of the day, when you're being squeezed, you'll be alone.
Yeah.
When you're paying
The
the price, you'll be alone.
repercussions are alone.
No one in this world would want to tolerate a burden. No one wants to tolerate a burden. Who would want to stay close to a weight, a dead weight? And for that case, for that, you understand?
Yes.
No one. Your friends are still entertaining you because you can still buy them a round of beer. You can still go with them to the club. You still have a salary. When they fire you,
That
some
will be
of them
the
will
end.
not respond to your texts. So don't tell me about influence. So think here is, you have an opportunity to choose right now. It is in your hands, and God has given it to you. Choose what you
Life.
want to be. But I would say, choose life. So the decisions that will help a person change are dependent on a person himself. Now, let me flip it to the other person, who is the recipient, because it is a woman and a man in the picture. One has decided to take a second and a third wife, and one woman is still struggling with taking
Whether
care
should
of
I
the
wait?
children.
Yes.
No. Struggling with taking care of the children.
Yes. And her emotional
By the time
pain.
you're taking the second and the third wife, you're not in your rightful mind as a Christian. You've already gone off the road. Okay? Emotionally, you're divided and entangled. So there are certain things that you cannot think soberly and straight and attend to. One of them, you cannot be a father to those children. So what's happening is, your wife is becoming the man and the husband, the wife, the woman and the man. She's trying to play the father duties and the mother duties at the same time. And guess what? She'll be lost somewhere because you can't. When you try to attend to both, you lose both. So what are you trying to do here? You're not only endangering your wife, but even your children.
Your children, yeah.
Okay? For someone else, the example you were giving, for someone, for a new catch, who also has her problems that you don't know now, but you'll find out later.
That's true.
So what is it that you are deciding? What kind of decision are you making right now? The decision that you're making is yours, and yours to carry. Now, when I flip, just like I was saying to the other woman, I would say, don't disconnect from the source.
Yeah.
When he decides to become funny, still, without judging him, pray for him. But most importantly, do what you need to do in as far as the family is concerned. Don't drop the ball. Whatever that you must do, whatever that you have to do, do it. If it's to look for a job, look for it.
Take care of them.
Take care of them.
You might cry yourself
The
to
pain-
sleep at night, but wake up and work.
The pain is inevitable,
Yeah.
that it's happened, but life must continue. That's why some people are called heroes.
That's true.
We don't just give people titles. We give them titles based on what they have done.
Accomplishments.
So, you are a hero in Alinda's life. You are a hero in Joel's life. You are a hero in your daughter's life.
children's
Yes,
life,
you
yeah.
are a hero. That you are there
To take care
to
of
take
them.
care of, to stand by them. And
Yeah.
to
And God
help
respects your
them.
prayers, and sometimes our prayers do not have to be right. Okay, because again, we don't want to be, because of pain, we pray different things. I know of
Yes.
people who have told me, I've prayed that I will forget about him. I've prayed that I will the love for him will go away because I realize it's the one that is hurting me, and I am still either stalking him or following up to find out what he's doing, where he is, with who. And so she feels like if this love for him is the one that is hurting me, then I am going to pray that God takes away the love. And I will tell you, sometimes God has been faithful and taken away the love. Yeah, because he knows that change comes from will. Okay, and it takes two people to have a will to make a relationship work and a marriage work. If one person is unwilling and the other person is willing, the willing is going to suffer for a very long time. For some people, they've said, you know what, I woke up one day, I cried too much. And I remember one lady telling me that there is a night it wasn't just crying or sobbing, it was wailing. I wailed like I had lost someone. I wailed like I had buried someone. And she was like, I shouted. I was in my room because I was hiding my tears from my children. I would show them like nothing is happening. I would even show them, you know what, everything is okay. You know, I would not even talk ill about their father who had decided to abandon us. So she says, one day I got so angry. I cried through the night. I wailed. I shouted. And she was like, the next day, I woke up a different woman. I woke up a woman who had no love in her heart for that person. I woke up a woman who was not willing to plead for that man. I woke up as a woman who decided to work and pursue my destiny and do everything that I could do for my children. And she said that was the end of my tears. Because even when he made a turn back and wanted to come back, I was like, we can co-parent. Okay? We can co-parent. Take care of your children. Take care of us. But when it comes to me putting my heart back into your hands with the way you treated me in those 5 years where you thought you had the new catches and you had forgotten about the old catch, it's like the old catch right now is wiser. The old catch right now is happier. And she's not willing to risk her happiness for someone who does not know what they want in the world. And let me tell you, God answers prayers in different ways.
I think what happens to a 5-year-old, 7-year-old marriage relationship, at that point, we're not just talking about love. It's the expectations that have been built over time. That's true. You know, when expectations start to die, it's like some part of you is dying.
Exactly. You're losing it.
Okay? You look at a person who has considered that job, okay, has his or her everything, and that job ends just like that. It's the expectations of, I had counted on this job to pay my rent. I had counted on this job to feed my family. You understand? To pay that loan.
Everything.
So it's just like you're shattered. Now, a job or a business is a rubber ball.
It's not even an equivalent to a relationship.
Think about it. It's just...
You can get it anywhere else.
You understand? That you can actually lose one here and God even opens a bigger one. It is not so in a relationship.
This is a crystal ball.
You have... Once jamu echiwanga, as in echiwanga from me, by you. Now what do I tell this child? You understand? So it's the expectations. How do I start telling my children that this is your father? How? You understand?
He's happy with another woman.
So the values and the expectations, the impact and the consequences are far-reaching. That's why someone just becomes numb. I
know. That's why some people commit suicide.
Yes. Because people get to a point where they don't see anything there.
Well, some people
by the way, it has nothing to do with love. Love is usually for the first...
butterfly season.
Yes. But you know when you commit, because that is it's like... when you talk about the phases, that is like the worst phase. You understand? That
you've totally dreaded. Abandoned everything.
That's why someone will be like, I don't want to commit. I don't want to go to your parents and introduce you. I don't want to marry you. I don't want you to be called Sabiti.
That's another level.
Because now it is commitment. So expectations. So we talk about the expectations that have been built. The consequences are not just us sleeping in the same bed. Because you understand? You can do that with anyone on the streets that you find today and walk away. You understand? Whatever that would have occurred between you is both physical and spiritual, but this is different. This is my wife in my bed, carries my name, has my children.
Abandoned everything else.
Exactly.
To commit to this.
So that woman will be shattered. When you say, I'm ending it. Or when you show signs of, I no longer value you and I no longer think of you the way you think of yourself.
I have
It is not
decided.
love at that point.
Yeah.
It is the expectations. That's why did you bring me this far, really?
I know.
Why
To
did
do
you
this.
do this to me?
Yeah.
Why? How do I start? Whom do I call? Whom do I talk to? Whom can I trust?
That's why you call on the name of Jesus.
That's why you
That's
go
why
to
you
your
call on God.
And you're like, they say you're the husband
Yeah.
to the widows. I'm not a widow and I don't want to be a widow.
You're the father to the fatherless.
But in this situation,
I need you.
I'm the equivalent of a widow. If that's what my man has decided. I'm almost.
Without a man.
God will not
He will
forsake
not
you.
abandon
He
you.
will not. Never joke with the source. God has what it takes to fill that heart with positivity, with hope, with new beginnings, with a new mind. You know the renewed one?
Yeah.
Hey, and you will start to thrive, and you will hit so fast, succeed in places where no one expected you to.
And you'll be like, is it me? After certain years, you look back and you're like, did I go through that fire? Did I go through that fire?
And
You'll not even smell
And one of the reasons
smoke.
that's why God allows such things to happen to some people is because some people are foundations.
Yeah.
You're going to be a foundation someday
You're going to help many.
to a generation.
He's strengthening your feeble limbs.
Let me tell you, I still think we are the last authentic generation. Everything that's following after this is going to be quite...
They will need the foundations.
I don't even know if speed is enough to describe speed. Everything is going to be running at
very terrific
rocket
speed.
You know?
And yet we need people that are anchored enough
No time for that.
to be able to hold.
No time for that right now.
I know.
So it's the people that have been anchored by God
That are going
that
to
will
help.
carry a lot of weight. Because guess what? Someone takes off at rocket speed, hits the rock, poof, comes back and falls on you. Nawetika. Because that's what's going to be happening.
Yeah. So we better become
So right
stronger.
now, one of the things that this generation has been robbed, it's one of them is patience.
The patience, yeah. They want fast things. Everything should be
The
fast.
exposure they have robs them of the ability to grow some muscle and some patience. They don't have it. The exposure
organic-
that they have tells them you can drive a Range Rover tomorrow.
You can eat a hen when it is just a week.
So all those things.
And so you see what's happening, just like we talked about those, how God restores or how God changes. It's not, when we still talk about the same situation about the man and the lady, God has enough power that if he really wanted this family to work, he can return the heart of a man, because there are certain men that have come to us and they're like, you know what, I did all the evil things
In this
to this
world.
woman.
Yes.
All the evil things.
Yes.
But I want to repair the walls.
Yep.
I want to, no one is forcing me. I am not doing it for anything, but I want to pay the price, even if this woman never gives me a chance. I want to be that man that never disappoints his family again. And before you know it, because we usually tell them, do not have expectations.
Yep.
You will think that, oh, I've given them money, I've paid their rent, or I've built them a house, and all of a sudden the woman will come back
Flying.
jubilating. And the woman will show you that I am running, I don't know how many miles per hour, because I no longer want any connection with you. So we usually prepare the men, and we're like, you know what? When you begin this chase, when you begin this important mission, you're not looking at what she's doing, because while you were running, she was chasing, and she stopped chasing, and she's not going to chase again. So do not expect her to run coming back to you.
Yep.
So now you are going to close the gap, but do not close the gap with bunkenke, with ntondo, no, you're not going to do it. You are going to do what a man is supposed to do, wholeheartedly, without any expectations. And some marriages have come back
been
together.
restored, yeah.
They have been restored.
There's room for restoration.
There is room for restoration.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree.
Even when people said otherwise, even when your heart told you otherwise, some of those marriages have come back and they have been better than they were before.
Exactly.
But this heart changed 360, and we don't know what changed this heart.
Yeah.
And that can be the power of God.
Yes.
So even when you as a parent, by the way, I would encourage the parents that when it involves family, pray but do not leave your children behind. Teach your children the power of prayer. Teach your children that God has the ultimate power to change any situation, to bend anything that looks unbendable. That as you raise, because the Bible says that we should never cease or stop reminding God until he makes Jerusalem praise.
Yeah.
So what do you want him to make praise? Do not stop reminding him of that.
Yeah.
So change can be in many ways, restoration can be in many ways, reconciliation can be in many ways.
Yeah.
We are not going to stipulate that, reconciliation, it means, you come back and, you're a happy family again. Sometimes the restoration is
there's work to do. No, there's work to do.
Yeah, a lot
there's
of
work
it.
to do. It's from when I built my expectations, you crushed them.
Yeah.
So build them again. But
Build
this time
the
I'm not going to be stupid.
I'm not
to
helping
just
you.
follow. I'm not just going to be stupid to take it in the way I did last time. This time it will be with so many questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And with a bit of
skepticism,
which is okay.
Cynicism,
which is okay. At that point, you're trying to take care of you.
Yeah.
That back then I was innocent.
I believed in the words.
And I was this vulnerable. And when I gave you the opportunity,
this is what you did.
You abused it. So right now, work hard, work twice, work triple to gain that trust. So it's work. Yeah, just like you said, the men, I've always told them, don't even think that because now you paid the rent,
you put the food,
and
you
paid the school fees,
that all of a sudden
you haven't
you're
done
entitled
everything that you did in the last five years.
No,
it's just the beginning. It's possible that you can't even do it and you don't get a thank you.
By the way. And it's possible that by the way you can even
because
do it.
When you're doing it, the other party is reading it otherwise. That alikuchi abalachi ayagalachi.
By the way.
So they're watching out for themselves. They're like, not this time around.
That's very true. And when you flip this, it also happens that so many women in this generation are also running away from their families.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you find a woman that is at a very high speed, okay? And I don't know why this is happening to middle and a bit mature women that are into younger boys that are running away from their families. Some of them will sit you down and tell you about the so many things that have happened to them, the not so good things that have happened to them. But
to their 15-20 years of marriage.
And the man has gotten to a time where he's trying to rectify his ways, or he's trying to make ends meet, or he's trying to to want to give everything to his family.
It's just like he's woken up
and all of a sudden
like now values
family first.
My next 30 years, my next 40 years before I die, I want to give it all to my family.
And the woman
is
hey kakokola tundi kanyuma.
You're kidding.
I know. Running like a mad woman in lodges, in hotels, she's everywhere, in clubs. You're saying, "Hey, mama wabana bangi," that's the mother.
At 35, she looks as young as an oat.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
And she's, taking,
like, I don't
shaking
care.
it to the ground.
Yes.
Umlambo
TikTok videos. Paka chini. And
know.
you're like, woo,
what's happening?
Ono na longo.
And you actually, I think some people just get a shock of their lives. A shock of their lives. But just like we said, I hope this can get deep down into us, that if God has the power to change. He had the power to create the universe. He has the power to destroy. He has ever destroyed the universe. He has ever destroyed the world. I was like, I created the world and I said it is good. But when I had Smanyi sodomy, I had what is happening? I was like, floods are coming to this world. Noah, build the ark. Take in two of everything, because we must begin another earth, with everything. So that means he has ever created the world. He has ever destroyed the world. He has the power in his hands.
Yes.
What is a human being? Okay? The one that he created, and he said that this is wonderful. And he started the union of marriage, the union of relationship. If you go back to him, okay, even if it is you that started this, that provoked this whole thing, and you repented and you told him that, God, I am sorry for A, B, C, and D. This is what I have done. I know that I did not help the situation, but give me one more chance. The problem is some of us pray for one more chance and we still jeopardize that chance. And we pray for another chance. But the thing is, according to God, one chance is not the last chance.
Exactly.
He can give you as many chances, but he still expects you to change. He still expects you to wake up. He still expects you and not to have any expectations.
Exactly. It's an interesting one. I mean, I feel our time is fast spent, but I'll tell you, from the side of men, it's never too late to turn back to your family. And while growing up, there are certain things that we never knew, and there are so many careless mistakes that we make as men. And as I earlier mentioned, because of influence, you have the wrong friends, and they constantly feed into you, are like the source. And you've made one mistake, you've made 2, you've made 3, you've made 4, and you feel like, I'm ashamed of myself at this point to turn back, and I don't know how I can rectify this. We have an organization called Inspire Men Initiative, which is there to help even men with such issues. And we do online meetings where we talk about our issues, where we're not shy to share our issues and help each other. And they have been very, very helpful to so many men that have joined. You can choose to join, and it's never too late to turn back. It's never too late to undo certain things. I mean, as I said, while growing up, there are certain things that we never knew, that we just learn along the way. Okay, but when you belong to sensible groups and sensible people and sensible men, they will speak wisdom into you. They'll try to show you the other side of life, the more meaningful side of life. They would like and help to redirect you and cause focus to the most important things. They'll help you with prioritization and etc and etc. So it's never too late to turn back. Come, let's get a place. Let's get a place to start. But most importantly, even when you come to us, we will tell you there is a source.
Yeah, and there is work to do.
That source is called God. And that source is very powerful. We will direct you to that source, and we will tell you, you will pray for yourself. You will pray for your family. You will pray for that job, for that business. Take time with God and ask Him. Seek wisdom, counsel, direction, guidance. You need it. You need it. The earth and all its fullness He's including the human beings in it. So what you need is the source, because He has all the power and has everything that you need to succeed in this life.
And I think for me, I am more directing this to the person that is holding in space of prayer. Okay? Because both parties must pray. Okay, we are all expected to plug in back to our sources. But I will tell you that there will be human beings that are going to be adamant about plugging into the source in different seasons of their lives. Now, if you are the one that has woken up and you're like, you know what, I want to plug in back to the source. I still want to pray. Let me tell you, I believe for everything good, just like we started this program, everything good has an enemy fighting it. Now, marriage has so many, like countless relationships, have so many countless enemies. So if you're the one that is in the place of prayer, that is in the place of prayer and supplication, because God says, let's make our needs known to him. Let's make our needs known to him in prayer and supplication, in thanksgiving, that, you know what, I have seen you do other things. You have done certain things in my life. I know this is something that is not too big. In Psalms, it says that I cried out unto God, and he heard my prayer, and he got me out of the pit of the muddy clay and put me on an established ground, on a rock. Okay, we all want to stand on a rock. We want our marriages to be built on rocks and not on sands. We want our relationships to be built on rocks and not sands. Now, in a relationship, when you are praying, you're really praying for the will of God to be done. Do not go to God and tell him, it is Tom that I want and I must get Tom. No. Let me tell you, I've ever been in that place of prayer and I said, God, literally, definitely, if you've done everything that you humanly can do and you have reached your end, that is where God begins. After you are exhausted and you're like, God, not my will, but let your will be done.
And that's the wisdom.
Okay? And if this be your will, I am going to trust you and I'm going to have faith in you, and that everything you said is yes and amen, and I'm going to stand on your word.
Exactly.
But I'm going to keep in the place of prayer, and I'm going to keep vigilant, and I'm not going to just make any wrong decision because the times have gone or because things are not working the way I want them to work. Even when you are in marriage, the same. If you're the one holding the fort, please hold the fort.
Exactly.
Stay on your knees. Pray. Make your needs known to God. Establish your family. Pray for your family. Pray as in let his will be done as well, because his will is reconciliation, is healing, is to restore, is to change, is to build again.
Exactly.
That is his will, and he will do it in his own timing and whichever way he pleases. But when you look unto him, one thing is, woe unto you who trusts a man. Because that is vanity. He is here today and tomorrow he's not. He never knows when his soul is going to be taken away from him. But forever a man that trusts in God will never be put to shame.
That's true.
So trust in God and give him all your burdens. Actually, he says, cast them to me. He didn't say bring them.
Cast.
He knew we will be tired. He said,
just cast.
Stand wherever you are and just cast them to the cross. So I'm encouraging you in this season to pray like you have never prayed before. Pray without ceasing. Pray without giving up. I know the temptations to complain and be frustrated are many, but pray. Plug in back to the source, and let me tell you, God will make you happy.
Exactly.
He will make you happy.
Exactly.
All right. From us to you, we love you. In case you need any help, the numbers are on the screen. Get in touch with us in case you want to join the men's forum, in case you want to join the women's forum, or you want to join accelerated mentorship. Join in. Let's join our hands. Let's pray together. Let's believe God to do a new thing in this season. I believe that there is a lot that he can do. Okay.